Hello student, welcome to our channel Learning Zoology with AC. I am Dr. Aruna Chakravarti, Associate Professor of Zoology, Government Dungar College, Bikaner. Students, today we will discuss appendicular skeleton in fish skeleton. The appendicular skeleton is the portion of the skeleton of vertebrates consisting of the bones that support the appendages. There are 126 bones. The appendicular skeleton includes the skeletal elements within the limbs as well as supporting shoulder girdle, pectoral and pelvic girdle. Because the appendages of fishes and tetrapods differ, the development and morphological of the pectoral and pelvic girdles also differ strongly. Tetrapod limbs have 5 segments: propodium, epipodium, mesopodium, metapodium, and phalanges. Appendicular skeleton supporting the fins and providing articulation to them. Dorsal fin. Advanced teleos usually have two dorsal fins, with the anterior one, first dorsal fin, composed of spines, and the posterior one, second dorsal fin, composed largely of soft rays. Although there may be one spine at the anterior margin of the fin. The anal fin usually lies just posterior to the anus. In soft rayed fishes, it is composed entirely of soft rays, as is the single dorsal fin of these fishes. In spiny ray fishes, the anal fin usually contains one or several anterior spines, followed by soft rays. The caudal fin is the tail fin from the Latin cauda meaning tail, located at the end of the caudal peduncle and is used for propulsion. Heterocercal means the vertebrae extend into the upper lobe of the tail, making it longer, as in shark. It is the opposite of hypocercal. The ventral fin and anal fin are located on the bottom or belly of fish and help with steering as well as balance. The tail fin, also called the caudal fin, helps propel fish towards. Nears the all fish can smell, located on a fish snout, are paired holes or nears used for detecting odors in the water. The postcranial skeleton of vertebrates fulfills various tasks constrained by extrinsic and intrinsic requirements which significantly differ between fishes and tetrapods. For instance, body support storage of minerals and hematopoiesis are less important for fishes, which include more than half of all living vertebrates, than for tetrapod. Evolutionary and developmental aspects of various parts of the postcranial skeleton of fishes that perform many different functions, however, have received only limited attention. Our knowledge is limited in anatomical, morphological, or taxonomic scope, in part because the composition of the postcranial skeleton differs significantly between fish lineages such as agnathians, chondrichthyans, actinopterygians, dipnoians, and coelacanthus. Here, we provide a broad overview of the evolutionary development of the postcranial skeleton of all extinct and extant fish lineages in phylogenetic and genetic framework. It is obvious that our knowledge about the evolution and development of the cartilage and bone formation, as well as the evolutionary sequence of postcranial parts, increased in recent years but nevertheless remains incomplete. The appendicular skeleton consists of skeletal elements of pectoral and pelvic girdle and of the appendages. The appendages are median and paired. Median appendages are found in fishes and aquatic tetrapoda, and paired appendages are found in all vertebrates except cyclostomes. In fishes, the paired appendages are pectoral and pelvic fin. In tetrapoda, they are fore and hind limbs. Now, origin of appendages. First of all, we discuss fin fold theory. According to the fin fold theory of Balfour, the ancestral vertebrate, that is fish, had a pair of lateral fin fold, one on each side of the trunk. They fuse behind the anus with a median ventral fin which extended along the tail to the mid dorsal side of the body. This hypothetical condition resembles the median fins and metapleural folds of Amphioxus. Persistence of certain parts and disappearance of other of the fin folds and median fin resulted in the formation of paired and median fins respectively in fishes. Later on, the limbs of tetrapoda evolved from the paired fin of the fishes. Thus, there are two transitions in the evolution of appendages, first from fin fold to fins and second from fins to limb. This theory is supported by certain evidences. Basic skeletal structure of paired and median fins are similar. This shows a common mode of origin. In embryos of certain elasmobranchs, a continuous series of muscle buds appear, certain of which later disappear, leaving only paired and median fins. In some extinct Devonian acanthodian shark were present a row of numerous small accessory spiny fins on either side between pectoral and pelvic fins. These are supposed to be a remnant of fin fold. In Cladocellaceae, extinct shark, pectoral and pelvic fin are broad, having no basal notch and are supported by parallel cartilaginous rods, the pterygophores. Their origin may be like primitive fin fold, but no primitive fossil fish possessing continuous fin fold is known. Thus, this theory is not widely accepted now. Now, fin spines theory. According to fin spines theory, probably the first fins are formed of metamerically arranged spines with fleshy webs like extinct acanthodian shark. Later on, all spines with web may have been disappeared, leaving only an anterior and posterior pair that later gave rise to pectoral and pelvic fins. Now, ostracoderm theory. Certain ostracoderm had lateral fleshy lobes on either lateral side. They may be supposed to be the precursor of pectoral fin. Certain other ostracoderm possess ventrolateral rows of terminal spines like acanthodians, leaving certain spines in the pectoral and pelvic regions. All were lost. This may be supposed to be an origin of paired fin and later limbs. The paired and median fins are supported by a series of endoskeleton pterygophores, each divided into pieces. Those in the basal part are basals, while the distal pieces are radials. Muscles are attached to the basals and radials for moving the fins. The distal part of fin is van-like and is supported by integumentary fin rays. The horny unjointed fin rays are ceratotrichia found in elasmobranchs. Bony jointed fin rays are lepidotrichia found in most bony fishes, and fibrous and jointed fin rays are campotrichia found in dipnoi. In elasmobranch and dipnoi, the paired fin have basal lobes and van-like part. They are called lobe fin. In most bony fishes, the basal lobe is missing and paired fin have only a van-like part projecting from the body. They are called ray fins. Now, origin of girdles. The basal pterygophores fuse into large pieces. The large anterior-most basal of each side extend towards the mid-ventral line and fuse together to form a girdle made of a bar of cartilage. Pectoral girdle has several cartilage bones. They are a scapula, suprascapula, precoracoid and a coracoid in each half. Between the scapula and coracoid, a glenoid cavity appears for the first time. Two dermal bones, the clavicle and interclavicle, are added in each half, but there is a gradual reduction or loss of some bones. The pectoral girdle lies just behind the branchial cavity and consists of two distinct symmetrical lateral halves having no connection with each other on the ventral side. Beside a secondary girdle of membrane bones is developed on the outer surface having a dorsal connection with the skull on each side through the post-temporal bone. The primary pectoral girdle is very much reduced and consists of scapula, coracoid, mesocoracoid, while the well-developed secondary girdle has clitherum and post-temporal. Clitherum, it is L-shaped bone having a short dorsal limb and a long ventral limb. The dorsal limb ends in the notch of the post-temporal. In the angle of its two limbs is a depression is which the head of the spine of pectoral fin fits. Now post-temporal. The post-temporal is well developed and has a main part and two forwardly directed processes, a superior stout and an inferior slender process. The post-temporal runs forward from the dorsal limb of clitherum, which fits into the deeply not proximal ends of its main part. The superior process articulates with the pterotic, and while the inferior unites with the basi-occipital bones of the skull. Scapula, it is roughly triangular flat bone lying in the angle between the two limbs of the clitherum. Its one end is attached to the dorsal limb of the clitherum, the other end is united with the coracoid, and the third end is directed downward and backward and provides articulation to the pectoral fin. Coracoid, it is a flat L-shaped bone lying over the ventral limb of the clitherum. The joint between the two limbs is directed backward and provide articulation to the pectoral fin. Now mesocoracoid. It is small curved bony rod lying over the dorsal limb of the clitherum. Its one end is attached with the dorsal limb of the clitherum at the side where scapula is attached, and the other end with the scapula and coracoid. The skeleton of pectoral fin consists of 3 radials, 2 or 3 interradials, 13 to 15 lepidotrachea or fin rays and a spine. The 3 radials are located between the fin and the pectoral girdle. The first radial is short and roughly rectangular, while the second and third are elongated bones arranged serially after the spine. 3 short, roughly rounded interradials are located between the first, second and third radials. Fin rays are branched and supported by radial or interradial bones. The spine is strong, stout and bears teeth-like serration along its posterior edge. The spine and its serrations are better developed in male than in the female. Pelvic girdle has three cartilage bones in each half. They are ilium, ischium, and pubis. There are no dermal bones like pectoral girdle. All three bones participate in the formation of acetabulum cavity. A cotyloid or acetabular bone often forms a part of acetabulum in mammals. Generally, a large obturator foramen lies between the ischium and pubis. The two halves of the pelvic girdle often meet mid-ventrally at the pubic or ischial symphysis. In most tetrapoda, the pelvic girdle is attached to the axial skeleton through the ilia articulating with the sacral vertebrae. The pelvic girdle consists of a pair of flattened pelvic bones surrounded by a common median piece of cartilage. Each pelvic bone is a flattened plate having three processes: inner short, median long, and outer average length. Posterior edge of the pelvic bone is round and perforated in the center. A small inverted comma-like supernumerary bone lies dorsolaterally to the outermost ray of the fin and is directed forward toward the pelvic girdle. Pelvic fin is similar than the pectoral and does not have any radial or interradial bone. It is directly attached to the pelvic bone by its 9 or 10 segmented lapidotrachea. Supernumerary bone is attached to the outermost ray. Homology. The bones of the pectoral and pelvic girdle are homologous, the scapula with the ilium, the precoracoid with the pubis and cotyloid, and the coracoid with the ischium. The clavicle is a dermal bone and is not homologous with the pubis, which is cartilage bone. Now, limbs. The limbs of tetrapoda are pentadactyl. They are used not only for locomotion but also to support the weight of the body above the ground. Thus, they are provided with joints. Each has three segments: the stylopodium, zygopodium, and autopodium, with joints between the segments. The stylopodium is the upper arm having a single humerus. The humerus joins the pectoral girdle at the glenoid cavity, while the femur joins the pelvic girdle at the acetabulum cavity. The zygopodium is the forearm. It contains two parallel bones, the radius and ulna, the tibia and fibula. The radius and tibia are lateral, while ulna and fibula are medial. Between the stylopodium and zygopodium is an elbow joint, that is knee joint. The autopodium has three divisions: a carpus or wrist, metacarpus or palm, and digits forming fingers or toes. The carpus or tarsus in the primitive condition has 10 bones in 3 rows. The first row has a radially, the intermedium and ulnar. In the second row are generally 2 centralia, while the third row have 5 distal carpals. The metacarpus has 5 long metacarpals. The digits are generally 5 in number or pentadactyl, with the first digit on preaxial side and the fifth on the postaxial side. Each digit has a linear row of phalanges. They are second, third, fourth, fifth, 4 beginning from the first to the last. There is some evidence that early tetrapoda have 7 digits. One on the preaxial side was prehalax and the postaxial digit was a post minimus, but these were probably additional bones of the wrist or ankle. Origin of pentadactyl limbs. Gutenberg theory. It was erroneously believed by Gutenberg that dipnoi were the ancestors of tetrapoda. The skeleton of their lobed fin, as seen in Neoceratodus, consists of a jointed axis of numerous bones from which biserial segmented radials and fin rays arose on both sides for supporting the fin. This type of fin is called an archipterygium. Gutenberg theory deriving the tetrapod limb from the archipterygium is now discarded. From crossopterygian fins, the link between the fins of fishes and limbs of tetrapoda is found in fossil crossopterygians. The lobe fin of extinct Sauropterus and Eusthenopteron were like paddles. They are called ichthyopterygium and suggest the beginning of tetrapoda limbs. Their fin had a well-developed fleshy lobe covered with scales and paddle-like fin blade. In the lobe, the skeleton had in the first row a single basal comparable to the humerus. In the second row were two radials comparable of the radius and ulna. The rest of the radials are comparable to carpals and tarsus. Terrestrial animals have acquired jointed limbs for locomotion on land. The limb of an ancient extinct amphibian, Rheops, is known as Cheiropterygium, in which there is a humerus in the first row, radius and ulna in the second row, followed by several carpals in diagonal rows, after which there is a prepollex and 5 digits which are not present in the fin blade and have been formed as new distal outgrowths. If the skeleton of an ichthyopterygium is compared to that of a Cheiropterygium, it is easy to see how the transformation of an fish fin into an amphibian limb took place. The former shows that even before locomotion on land was adopted, the arrangements of its skeleton had already come to resemble that of land animals. Thus, the crossopterygian fin or ichthyopterygium gave rise to a pentadactyl limb by an elongation of the basal lobe and its skeleton, by a loss of the fin blade and supporting fin rays, and by formation and separation of terminal radials to form digits. So thank you students. Thanks for watching.